Hello AES Universe and welcome to History Of. I'm your host and resident superhero nerd Aaron Waller, and this is the series where we do a little bit of a deep dive into various comic book characters, both heroes and villains, give a little bit of insight as to who they are and why they do what they do. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about a very interesting villain that's going to be upcoming into the MCU in Thor Love and Thunder, and that's going to be Gorr the God Butcher. But before we dive into his character, I wanted to tell you to check out animatedapparelcompany.com for all your awesome nerdy merch from Marvel, DC, Star Wars, video games, anime, and so much more. And you can even use my special promo code Aaron20 to get 20% off your order, add some more stuff to your cart, and save some more money. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this very crazy villain. Gorr the God Butcher was created by Jason Aaron and Esad Ribic and first appeared in Thor God of Thunder #2 in 2012. Gorr the God Butcher has only actually appeared in Thor God of Thunder, the comic book, so there isn't a ton of comics to recommend reading, but his storyline is perhaps one of the most interesting, if not the most interesting Thor comics, so I highly recommend checking it out. Gorr was born to an unnamed planet that was on the brink of starvation on a daily basis. He was raised to believe and trust in the gods and that they would answer his prayers. They never did, and thus the first stone was cast. Gorr's mother and father would die while he was young, leaving Gorr by himself in an extremely harsh desert-like planet. Gorr would thrive, however, and continue to live on and eventually have a wife and children of his own, though most of them would not live long. Gorr's wife Ara would then be killed during an earthquake and would be left with his only remaining son, Agar, who would rely heavily on his father and would eventually perish, and Gorr would fully lose faith and belief that there in fact are no gods, and he would express this to his people and would be exiled. While wandering the desert, Gorr came across two battling gods, Null, a dark elder god, and a purple-skinned god with gold armor. And I know what you're thinking, no, it wasn't Thanos. After seeing these two battling gods, Gorr was in shock that they did in fact exist. He became furious and approached the purple god who was begging for help. He grabbed the sword of Null, which appeared as a mass of darkness, and it bonded to Gorr, and his new weapon would be called All Black the Necro Sword. After killing the gods, he vowed to seek vengeance against all other gods for never answering his prayers and set out on his mission to kill them all off. He would then travel the cosmos for thousands of years, killing gods of any kind, from war and chaos to death, poetry, and even flowers. But it's in his interactions and battles with Thor that bring the reality of his strength and brutality into better focus. During the 9th century, Gorr would arrive to Earth to kill a god from the Americas, and Thor would discover this god's body washed up on shore. And later, while in Russia with a Viking raid party, Thor would find even more bodies of Slavic gods just slain across the floor, and it's here that Thor would first encounter Gorr. The battle leaves Thor near death, but before Gorr can kill him, Thor uses a lightning strike to incapacitate them both. Gorr is able to recover just enough to seek refuge in a cave where they once again fight, and Gorr gets the upper hand. After torturing Thor for 17 days, Thor's worshippers are able to find him and distract Gorr just long enough for Thor to recover and cut off Gorr's right arm and believe he killed him. Gorr would, however, survive this and spend the next 1,000 years butchering any god he can find, which was a lot. He would continue to grow in strength and assemble an army of dark minions to aid his campaign. Thor then begins to notice the familiar patterns of Gorr and more dead gods, leading him to believe that he did not in fact kill Gorr and he's still alive, so he must stop him. Gorr, meanwhile, would be enacting the beginning of his greatest plan and attack Kronos, and use the Pool of Forevers to travel through the time stream and end all gods from the beginning of time. He would then kill one of the first gods and take their heart as a trophy, then jump forward back in time and set up his base of operations in the desolate Asgard, where he would enslave most of the gods to mine materials for his secret project and torment All-Father Thor from Earth 14412 for failing to protect Asgard. Gorr's secret project would turn out to be called the God Bomb, which would exterminate all gods for across the entirety of time, and with the help of his all-black weapon, he reconstructs his wife and son Agar. Gorr would then send his minions called Black Berserkers to the past to kidnap the Thor he first encountered in the 9th century and enslave him as well. The young Thor would then try to escape but be caught, so Gorr has him catapulted off planet where he meets the Earth 616 Thor and King Thor, and so all three get together and decide they must stop Gorr together or not at all. Ultimately, the plan fails and Gorr is able to defeat all three Thors and go to activate the God Bomb when his wife stops him and calls him a god. And this is a major uh-oh. Gorr becomes furious and kills her. Gorr's son Agar then decides to help the three Thors, as he's actually the embodied subconscious of Gorr, and realizing that his father has become the very thing he's despised. With the help of all the remaining gods and Agar's prayers to Thor, he's able to absorb the blast of the God Bomb and Necro Necrosword and weaken Gorr and finally kill him. Gorr would, however, leave his mark on Thor and shake his belief so much that he would become unworthy to lift Mjolnir for a period of time. Gorr's consciousness would remain contained inside the All Black, however, and would be resurrected by King Loki. Gorr then reclaims the All Black and impales King Loki and Thor to torture them. He would then be faced with the All-Father Thor in an epic battle that engulfs Thor and Loki in the All Black, where Gorr claims that he is no god but instead a force of nature. Then the gods Thor had saved previously would summon the power of the Goddess of Thunder from the past. Gorr would become overwhelmed and eventually decapitated by the youngest goddaughter of Thor. Once again, the All Black contains the consciousness of Gorr, and after Loki is able to distract Gorr for just long enough, he's stripped of the All Black and left insane and powerless once again, and sent to live with his remaining days being watched over by the Sky Lords of Indigar. Gorr the God Butcher will be making his first on-screen appearance in the upcoming Thor Love and Thunder and will be played by former Dark Knight Christian Bale. Now you're probably thinking this guy has a lot of power. He not only took on 3 Thors, but also King Loki and basically any god. And with that, you're only kind of right. Gorr the God Butcher at his core actually has no real powers and is not very strong at all. He has, however, thousands of years of combat experience and torture with all the gods that he's killed, but it's with the All Black and the Necrosword that he gets his strength and his powers. And the Necrosword not only allows for superior strength, but also durability, speed, reflexes, and can change its shape, though it does prefer the shape of a sword. In fact, the Necrosword is the first symbiote, thus the black appearance and ability to change its shape at will, similar to that of Venom, Carnage, and the other symbiotes. So those are some of the things you need to know about Gorr the God Butcher. I pretty much gave you the entire comic, but it's still 100% worth the read. It is quite the ride. The art is amazing, and I highly recommend checking it out. I can't wait to see this character on screen, live action for the first time. I do expect there to be some differences. I don't know if they're going to bring in the whole symbiote aspect, but it's still going to be really exciting. But if you did learn something new in this video, let me know down in the comment section down below, as well as let me know any other characters you may want to see in this series. I need suggestions and I need your help. Also, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos from me or the rest of the AAC team, including videos from Jake, any of our live stream, or any awesome stuff that we may be doing next. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next video.